How's it going, everybody? We got an Ultimate 32 starting today, so we got to set our defense and set our expectations on what's going to be coming our way when we get our first matches. The Ultimate 32 tournaments is, I know for a lot of people, a big sort of stress because it does sort of set the pace on how your entire season 16 is going to go. Because if you start a losing streak in the Ultimate 32, you plummet in the rankings very quickly. So you got to get a grip on these rooms as quickly as possible. So let's take a moment to go over the take a moment room. This is stage one. So on offense and defense, this is new, guys. The last time we had this room, it was only on defense. This was the Odin Illuminati Black Knight room. You can still do that if you want. But this room is definitely made for Accursed. That's why they added the offensive tag to it as well. So the Accursed kind of loses their fights if they don't get to, do their abilities. What's a way to protect them from that? Well, make it so they can't get any debuffs, and then make it so they take less damage. So this room is going to be amazing for Accursed, but I have a different idea for it, actually. I might be using Starjammers here. The reason for this is because the mirror match tend to be what people go for. However, the mirror match is going to struggle. Howard the Duck, if he's in position 5, this is how the mirror match wins, right? If he's in position 5, he's still giving speed bar to his team. All your characters get to go first. But if all your characters get to go first, and you have less focus, 5,000% less focus to be exact, and 50% less damage, well, then you're kind of going to whiff all of your abilities. And then the enemy Starjammer is going to hit you back twice as hard. Now, this is also easily countered. If somebody comes in with Accursed, Havoc is the first character to go, and then you die. The Accursed will just take you out. So I have a couple different options for this one. We talked about Odin Illuminati Black Knight being the old room for this one. With that addition to the on-offensive side, I feel like that could also be easily countered, or at least more easily countered. So let's go through the rest of our room rules. We'll leave the mystique up for now, and then I'll talk about substitutions. So this is kind of what I'm leaning to if I want to be very turtly. Sinister's Gambit. On offense and defense, all characters on spawn, your character with the highest health clones the enemy character with the highest damage. Let's talk about what this means exactly. If we head on over to the official website, we can go to the stats page and we can actually sort by health. We see Mephisto, Xavier, Odin, Mr. Fantastic, Omega Red, Phoenix Force, Franklin Richards, Invisible Woman, Hyperion, Null, and finally Juggernaut are our top 11. I put in Juggernaut for a reason. That's our top 11 highest health characters. The reason that's important is because a clone is going to be based on the character that cloned it. So, if your Professor X is your highest health character, your clone is going to only max out at 7 red stars if you got him all the way up to 7 red stars, right? It doesn't scale off the stats your Professor X has. It only scales off the build level. So if you have a Gear 220, 7 red star Professor X, that's who's going to do the cloning, assuming that the life is what it is, which probably would be the case. But let's say you have a Juggernaut and you have him at Gear Tier 20, but 3 diamonds, then the clone is going to come in at 3 diamonds. So this is important. Now, this could all be for nothing if the enemy brings in a Kestrel. So one of the things we want to do with whatever team we're going to be bringing in here is make it so if they bring a Kestrel, they're going to be down 1 player essentially, and they're going to just lose because of that. One of the best teams in the game right now, I know this is weird to say, is the Accursed team. And it kind of comes online when you get the newer characters to 5 stars. So this is going to be sort of a whale option. Guys, trust me, this is just like the best of the best defense you could set. I'm going to be talking about a free-to-play option because obviously this is not relatable to a lot of players. But Quasar goes amazing with them. Quasar giving them immunity on spawn basically activates Juggernaut to give safeguard after the fact on every turn, which helps protect the Accursed team. Just what we were talking about, the Accursed team being very usable in stage 1, Quasar would help protect them in stage 2. You get that clone out. If they bring a Kestrel, I'm sorry, you bring a Kestrel into one of these new stat teams, especially the new Apex Crucible team, you're in for a world of hurt. But you could absolutely switch the Accursed over to stage 1 if you have them at lower stars, because it will protect them a little bit with that 50% decrease damage, right? So you could do that if you have it lower stars and you're not really enjoying the Accursed experience on offense. So you would not put Starjammers in stage 2. That would be a big no-no because those characters don't have all that much life, including Groot, by the way. All right, Spiritual Energy. On defense and offense, all characters Anytime a character gains energy from an active ability, they gain 1 extra energy. When an enemy character dies, allied characters gain 1 ability energy. Ultimate abilities cost 3 more. This is incredibly important, so I want to think about which teams suffer because the enemy can ult right away, which teams, if they get a bunch of energy back, could be a big headache, and it's a Professor X team. So we do have Black Knight, Null, Mephisto, Emma Frost, X-Men, and Professor X on the team. I'll probably make Professor X back to be a Raider or Striker for this. This is a very solid team. This team was losing to Crack and Out of Curses in the last season, especially in Stage 6. I don't know if they'll beat them in this new Stage 3 because Helverine will not have his ultimate up. Satana wouldn't have her ultimate up. Mordo wouldn't have his ultimate up, so they would be pretty far off, and they'd have to take a couple extra hits. I think that they would probably struggle. I think they would struggle quite a bit. But if you do think that you are going to be paired up with a lot of people that will have Kraken Out of Curses, just go ahead and switch this Black Knight from a hero to a villain. You could switch it to Zombie Juggernaut, I guess Absorbing Man, Gladiator. But if you switch to Gladiator, then there is the option somebody can come in with a Starjammers and use Havoc Special to stun your Professor X right away. Something you could walk into. But then I think that they would still struggle after that point. Like, even if they stun Professor X the first time, the rest of these characters are no pushover, and that could be a headache. So, this, I think, is an amazing defense. This may very well be what I run. If I run this, I still have a lot on offense. I'll probably be doing some burn attacks, though. The Immortal X-Men, I don't think, is going to be used very much at this tournament at all, though we don't only have 3 attacks to get the clears anymore. So if I were to see a team like this, I could do 2 burn attacks. I can then hit with Immortals. Immortals will kill most, if not all of this, right? Because they'll sap the special energy, and then they have the Terminator Rewind on Professor X after he's already been exhausted. And maybe they'll die. Maybe they'll die, but they'll kill a bunch of people along the way, and then I can clean it up on the 4th hit, worst comes to worst. So Immortals might be one of my, like, wear them down slowly teams. I would still have Cabal, Apocalypse, Old Man Logan. I know I already said Phoenix Force. I'd have Endgame Thanos to play around with. You'd end up having a lot of teams that you could slowly whittle them down with. But if you don't want to go this heavy, or you don't have some of these teams, like you don't have Professor X, you don't have the Accursed built up, well, then we definitely have other options. Let's just go ahead and zero all these out, because there's going to be some crossover characters. So let's zero all these out. And then we can start for stage 1. Now, we talked about what we could do for stage 1, right? We could do something like an Odin Illuminati Black Knight. I think this is a very, very fair team to throw up. If I am balling on a budget, I'm a little bit more of a mid-game player, and I got my Odin, I got my Mephisto, but don't have Professor X. I'm not throwing both Odin and Professor X on defense. So if you do throw this team on defense, I think it's okay. I do think it'll still get smashed by people's big Starjammers who they have been able to farm. This will definitely get ripped apart by people's accursed teams. So keep that in mind if you do want to try this team. It all depends on, the type of people that you face. But it is a decent defense. Sinister's Gambit, again, we want to kind of lean into high health characters. So I could see the Phoenix Force team doing really well here. If we go back to our stat sheet, we do notice that Omega Red Phoenix Force, one of the highest health characters in the game, coming in at 5. So not only would he clone, but he's going to get speed bar because of Gladiator. And there's this big mess of an issue here. Though I do think that it is possible. Sorry, I'm showing you the wrong page. I do think it is possible that an Immortal team can come in here and one-shot this. Especially because they are going to clone your highest damage character, right? Which probably is going to be Omega Red Phoenix Force or Endgame Thanos, depending on the size of your characters. And if that's the case, them cloning your Endgame Thanos would really, really hurt you. Them cloning your Omega Red Phoenix Force wouldn't really affect you very much. I guess it could be Phoenix. Phoenix actually has pretty insane damage too. Let's actually head on back to our stat sheet, and I'll try not to forget to bring you back this time. Professor X, Odin, Invisible Woman, Omega Red Phoenix Force does have insanely high damage. Phoenix is right after him. So if you're Phoenix and your Endgame Thanos have the same build, your Phoenix is actually going to be the one that gets cloned, and that will hurt you. That'll get defense down on you. That'll do percentage damage to you. That could bypass your endgame Thanos. So yeah, I think Immortal would have a very good shot of beating this team in stage 2, but it is an option, and then you're not using your curse or your Starjammers on defense. The third team that you could play around with is going to be a Mephisto team that is not relying on Professor X, which is this team right here. I can't use it because we have Black Knight and Captain Britain here, but like I said, I would not throw Odin and Mephisto both on defense if you do not have Professor X. Even if you do have Professor X, I wouldn't do it personally. But that team would look something like this. We'll go ahead and throw it up for you guys to see. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. Canada Day was off the hook. And by off the hook, I mean I was yelling and screaming after all my kids and chasing them around, having fun. So, yeah, sorry about the voice crack. Yeah, so I would use a team like this. So we are stopping speed bar. We're stopping speed stat. We are popping off with our Mephisto. Please note Mephisto in this room is going to be using his special because ultimate abilities cost 3 more. So his empowered attack is kind of janky here. I wouldn't mind also throwing this team over to stage 1. People are going to say, but if Mephisto's going, you're immediately losing this advantage. A lot of people are going to have to 3-shot this team, and then you're not going to be going first. You're just not, right? And if your Mephisto goes first, you are covering them in debuffs. You are getting offense up to kind of bypass that 50% damage reduction the room does. You are getting defense down, so you're even going further than that, right? And your Mephisto is still going to be getting an insane speed stat. He's going to lap around, and he's going to do an insane special that's probably going to cripple your opponents. People who are writing off Mephisto in this room, I don't think they quite understand how that's going to go for them. We've seen that time and time again. But those are some of the ideas I have. You could also go super duper cheap and just keep like everything on offense. You could do something like Night Stalkers with Scientist Supreme on defense. I see people still trying to do that. It's not bad. It gets easily mirrored. That's sort of a team. If you want to be very, very offensive heavy, you could do it, but know that because there's only 3 rooms in the Ultimate 32, they're going to have a counter for you, and it's not going to end pretty for you. But yeah, guys, that's kind of where my head is at. Let me go ahead and throw the teams that I'm going to be using once again. I'm kind of thinking I'm going to be throwing Zombie Juggernaut in with my Professor X, taking out that Black Knight. I think I'm going to be using the Accursed team here. And then I am probably going to be doing Odin, Illuminati, Black Knight. So kind of breaking my own rule. But this is going to allow me to save my Starjammers. And I think my Starjammers could be used to take out a team that looks like this. Or the mirror match worst case scenario. But yeah, Starjammers does not work against the Cursed, and it does not work against Professor X team. So you could definitely justify putting them on defense as well, trying to force that ugly mirror match from your opponent, and that could be great. And I mean, okay, let's get really in the weeds just for a second. If you put Starjammers here, and then you put a team that they really want to use Starjammers on it over here, and you save your Professor X for offense, that could be something you lean into. For instance, if I were to do something like this, and let's say my opponent has either Accursed or Starjammers on defense, but not both, he's got to pick. Is he going to go for the easy clean on my Starjammers, or the easy clean on Odin Illuminati, and now I still have my Null, my Mephisto, my Professor X, to counter an enemy Professor X? It's kind of like a sneaky mind game you could try if you are a more offense-oriented person. I still am not quite sure how crazy I'm going to go. I do think this is the best defense you could drop in there, though. Unless you're not facing against Krakens, and then throw Black Knight here. Yeah, Kraken to Curse are kind of different, guys. They're kind of different. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. I wish you all the best of luck in the Ultimate 32. We will be posting all of our videos for Ultimate 32, no matter how hard I crash out. And I've been crashing out really hard lately. So stay tuned for that. Hopefully that is going to help you guys navigate these waters. But for now, stay happy, stay healthy, have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye, everybody.
That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.